I never had a corporate job. Like I've always been with startups, jump from one country to another, building startups, traveling, exploring cultures, things like that.
Assalamu Alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the Deen Deals Podcast. Brother Wai Yan, great to have you on, mashallah. Thank you for joining. Jum'ah Mubarak.
Wa alaikum assalam and assalamu alaikum to all of you listening. Jummah Mubarak to you too, brother. And thanks for having me on. I'm pretty excited to speak with you.
Absolutely. No, the excitement is mutual, alhamdulillah. And I guess to kind of give you a background too, and for anybody listening, like I first heard about you on LinkedIn, which tends to be kind of my social media, right? And I had seen, mashallah, that you were a part of a competition for some friends of mine are involved in Move, as you're familiar
That's
with
right.
the Move Chamber, mashallah. Shout out Move Chamber, and
Shout out to
they
them.
they did their conference, and I actually had to miss that. I had a work obligation, needed to be in the office. But the after of that event was like I just saw pictures of the competition, the stage, the different sessions, and mashallah, you kept coming up. And a lot of brothers in the area here in Northern Virginia were like, "Bro, our business competition was a huge success," and they kept mentioning you. And then I saw your posts and everything, and I'm like, "Okay, well, this was like over a year ago at this point." I was like, I have
Yes.
to meet Brother Wai Yan, and like, alhamdulillah, now we're here. So, would love to kind of learn more about you. Like, what's your background? What's your origin story?
I'm a Burmese. Let's start with that.
Oh, mashallah,
Alhamdulillah.
mashallah.
For those who don't know what Burma or Myanmar mean, we actually have two names, weirdly, right?
Yeah.
So we go by either Myanmar or Burma, and we use them interchangeably. It's a country in Southeast Asia, sandwiched between India, China, and Thailand. So people know about India, people know about China, and they know about Thailand, and they kind of forget about the country with 65 million people sandwiched between all these countries.
Wait,
Right? So
65 million.
that's right, sir. Yep, 65 million
Mashallah.
people.
That is a lot of
So
people, bro.
that's a lot of people. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So that's where I'm from. Born and raised in Myanmar. Alhamdulillah, I did my high school. I mean, I did finish my high school there. Went to the university for a couple months, and then dropped out. Went straight to Turkey. Thought I was gonna be a robotics engineer. Started studying mechatronics engineering in Turkey, and then a year later, I dropped out once again. Came back to Myanmar, started dipping my toes into the startup world, working
Oh,
with different startups. At that time, I was what, 17 years old. Right.
wow,
Since then,
mashallah.
I've never had a corporate job. Like I've always been with startups. Jump from one country to another, building startups, working with startups, traveling, exploring cultures, things like that. And then I moved to America in 2020, March of 2023.
Wow,
And
that's
yeah,
pretty
and then
recent.
yes, sir. Yeah,
You're about
it's
to hit
not
your
too
3
long
year
ago.
mark. Yeah,
Yes, sir. That's right. That's right. Yeah,
mashallah.
that's a whole background in a nutshell.
Mashallah, mashallah. So that kind of draws my curiosity to, okay, uh, you've been doing this entrepreneurship stuff for, what is it? How long? Like 15, 20 years? Less, more?
Well, I'm 27 now, so it's been 10
Oh,
years.
oh, mashallah. Okay. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know your age, mashallah. Okay, 27. So you've been in the game for 10 years. You've never worked for anybody but yourself. What's that been like? Like, what, obviously, from a mindset, tawakkul, that's one level, but like, have you, like, has there been like a set direction with every startup jump you've made? Like, what's the journey been like?
It comes down to how I actually grew up back home. I grew up in a pretty lower middle class family, right? We were essentially, one step higher than just the poorest in the country. That's all. That's all
Subhanallah.
that is, right? So since I was very young, I had to actually go out and work for something,
Yeah.
whatever I wanted something, right? Say
Yeah.
for example, I wanted to get I don't know if you watch animes,
A
I'm a
little
big
bit.
fan of Naruto. I'm a big fan
Okay.
of Naruto, so I
Okay.
wanted to get Naruto sticker sheets, and I didn't have money. My family didn't have much money, so what
Yeah.
had to do was, I had to go out, think of something, sell something, and then go back and then get the sticker sheets. That's how I grew up. So it's
Yeah.
always entrepreneurship. It was always in my journey, since I was very young. By the eighth grade, I was I was selling I was selling fried rice on the streets with my aunt,
Wow.
making some cash, and
Yeah.
so that I could buy some things for myself. And then as soon as I finished my high school, in the age of 15, then I started tutoring people, right?
Yeah.
Started making money that way. Went to Turkey. I was supposed to be studying. I mean, I got full scholarship, by the way. That's how I got to Turkey, right?
MashaAllah.
Full scholarship to go to Turkey, you know. Supposed to be studying, but then again, as I told you, I dropped out and started working as English teacher, teaching English to Turkish students or
Wow.
Turkish people in general, right? And then come back to Myanmar, met startup founders and started working with them, for them, building projects for them, with them, right? And
Yeah.
that's how my life evolved around. Really, my very first startup was in augmented reality space. So the founder is a Harvard graduate Burmese lady. She's my first
Wow.
mentor, the first person with the word startup, right? That because like back then I didn't even know what the startup meant
Yeah.
until I met her, right? I mean, she was like, she was bringing this cool technology with the card, and you can scan the card, and there'll be like 3D objects coming out of the phone. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
How did you
And
meet
then
her? Like, where did you come
I
across her?
went. She had this event in one of the community centers in Yangon, the city where I'm from.
Mm.
And I didn't know anything about the technology back then. I just wanted to
Right.
meet somebody. She said, Harvard graduate. I'm like, from Burma? Like, this is crazy, right? I mean, somebody from Burma went to Harvard and graduated and come back to Myanmar to build a business. I'm like, this is interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't care about the technology. I didn't care about startup. I just wanted to meet somebody from Harvard.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I went to that event, sit in the event, and then she did this whole presentation about augmented reality and how she's going to use the technology to change the education system in Myanmar.
Wow.
So intrigued by literally every word she was saying. And after the event, I stayed on, and she came up to me and asked me, like who am I, and like what I was doing and stuff. At that time,
Yeah.
I just came back from Turkey, and I told
Yeah.
her that I dropped out from Turkey because I didn't feel like education was really necessary. That's what I
Mm.
told her, because that's what I felt dropping out of two different universities from
You
two
and
different
you
countries,
said
right?
that to a Harvard graduate too. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering what she told you.
She said, that is very interesting. Why don't you visit my office?
Mm.
She wrote a little she wrote on a little piece of paper the office address,
Yeah.
and I went and visited her, and like her office was like a little cubicle with five people with computer hacking things.
Mm.
Like, hmm, this is not what a company looked like, knowing when I grew up. Because
Right.
what I know about companies are like big offices and people working with computers, or just a lot of people, not five
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's how I started getting to know her, and she started giving me tasks. I was not even
Yeah.
looking for a job. I was 17-year old,
Yeah.
right? And then she said, "Well, can you do this? Can you do that?" And I just started, hacking things myself, and that's how I got my foot into the startup world. And one thing led to another. I
Wow.
started, traveling to different countries, bringing some of the startups from Myanmar to Malaysia. I was in Korea building my stories got shuffled. So Myanmar, I brought some of the companies to Malaysia, and then I co-founded cloud vending technology company in Malaysia with two co-founders in the country, and then brought that company from Malaysia to Korea, where I expanded the business, and then later on I started the education technology company, and then brought that company over to Thailand, and then what? I moved to the U.S. because I had to get married.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So, okay, there's so much you just said there that I want to
A
dive into.
lot. I
Yeah,
know a
yeah,
lot.
MashaAllah. No,
It's a lot.
MashaAllah. And mashallah, you're 27. Like I'm 26. Like I look at you and I'm like, wow.
Inshallah.
Yani, everybody's got their journey, of course, but I see that and I'm like, I'm just so super inspired, bro. Mashallah. So
Appreciate it.
you help in that startup. At what point did you feel like it was time for you to break away from the Harvard? I don't want to keep calling her Harvard lady. I don't know what her name is, but when did you feel like, okay, it was time to do your own thing? Like, what was that time where you went to Korea, you did your thing there, or am I missing a step there?
So back to the company, right? The very
Yeah.
first startup. That company is called 360 ED, or 360 Ad, right? I was the number sixth employee in the company,
Mm.
and I was there for, I want to say, a year, a little over a year, you know. But then again, I was also studying German. I went to the Goethe Institute. It's a German culture center in Myanmar, in Yangon. And I was already studying German because my dream, or I thought my dream, was to. I already dropped out of two universities because I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be a robotics engineer. I wanted to build robots. That's what I thought, right? And then I thought Germany would be the best place for me to go and study.
Yeah.
So for me to study in Germany, I needed to study the language first.
Right.
So I was doing my language course, and then I was doing, I think, like A1 or A2, I mean A1 and A2, like the basic levels. And then for them to offer, for me to get to the B1 level, intermediate level, Yangon didn't have that, so I had to leave the country and move to Indonesia and
Mm.
study. Move to, sorry, Thailand first, and then 3 months of B1 in Thailand, and then B2 and upper intermediate level in Indonesia. So because I had to move to these countries, I had to leave the job.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was not like, oh man, I got what I wanted. I
It's
gotta
time to
go.
go.
No,
Yeah.
I just had to leave.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, wow, mashallah. And then, like, I imagine when you're doing the German studies and all that, you probably got some kind of an itch. Like, what's the transition from, you know, okay, you're doing the German stuff, but then it's back to the business. What was that like?
Brother, being honest with you, 17-year-old, that's a lot of confusion in my head, right?
Yeah,
Am I working in a startup? Am I a startup founder? Am I a
yeah,
startup employee? Or am
right,
I just continuing my educational journey? I don't
right,
know. I was
right.
trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah,
So that's why I was doing all the things that I could. I mean,
yeah.
I wasn't I was literally saying yes to all the opportunities that came up to my door. Literally,
Mm,
if this founder asked me to do something, I'll be like, hell yeah, I'll do it. Because man, I'm young.
yeah,
I want to learn. I love the startup energy, startup vibe. So whatever I could do, I'll do it for you, right? So
yeah,
that's how I did. And along the journey of studying German, as I said, I was gonna end up in Germany, but then again, fate has other plans for me, right?
yeah, yeah,
I tried to apply for German visa, but as a citizen with one of the weakest passports in the world, it
mm,
was almost impossible for me to get in.
yeah,
Plus, I didn't have a strong financial background because my
yeah.
family wasn't rich. I was just only one guy trying to do things myself, right? So they
True.
didn't believe that I was going to leave the country after my studies. So
Yeah.
they rejected, not just once, not twice, actually 3 times. So I'm like, okay,
Wow.
you know what? Forget about Europe. Let me not. I'm not gonna go to Europe anymore. Let me just focus on what I
Subhanallah.
can do in Asia. That's how I ended up working with other startups. So I was doing my B2 level in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Stayed there for about a little over a year. Traveled across the country, and then I was back in Myanmar.
Right.
Not knowing what to do next. And then suddenly I got called by a friend of mine who said, "You know what, brother? Why don't you come and visit this business that I'm doing?" And that was actually one of the places that Draper Startup House, based out of Palo Alto, or I
Mm.
think San Mateo. Sorry, yeah, San Mateo, California. They had these startup houses all across the country, and
Yeah.
Myanmar was one of them. They were gearing up to build the whole thing up, right? So I was there, met up with the guy, and he said, I want to link you up with the founder of Startup House. We chat. He's like, you're young, you're traveling, like what are you doing, right? You should be working with us, right? You should be building this whole thing up. Like, sure. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know anything about hospitality. I don't even know how to book, how to let a guest book through the OTA, or I don't know how to arrange anything. But I'll learn. I don't even
Yeah.
know what a P&L means, right? But I'll learn. So I did that, and
MashaAllah.
did that for a while. I think again for about a year or so, and then what did I do? Oh, and then I was that during the time I was working for that company, Draper Startup House Myanmar. I was consulting waste management, B2B waste management company or startup in Myanmar, and then there came an opportunity where I could bring that startup to Malaysia, and I did that. I led the team to Malaysia, did the expansion project, and then I came back to Myanmar,
Yeah.
received a call from friends that I met in Malaysia. These two people happen to be the founders of vending cloud vending company. Call me and say, "Yo, we've met before, right? Why don't you come back? Be our co-founder." I said, "Cool. Give me 2 weeks. Let me pack my bags up. I'll fly back to Malaysia, build a company with them." There came an opportunity again, alhamdulillah,
MashaAllah.
to expand that company from Malaysia to Korea, and that's what I did. And then Korea EdTech company to Thailand, and then to US. I know it's a
Brother,
lot of
there's
things.
there's like 100 questions that come up, but I'm gonna try to focus with you because this is
Sure.
this is mashallah. I love your story, bro. This is amazing. And so tell me more about the cloud vending thing. Because I saw that on your LinkedIn, but I wasn't sure what that exactly is. Like I did some digging, but wasn't too successful in that regard. Like what I guess there's a few questions here. First of all, what is it? Second of all, why does anybody care to, like for example, I'm in America, you know how it is, right? Like you don't see, maybe actually you'll start to expand your vending machines inshallah, but you don't see vending machines just popping out like cool types. Like
Yes.
what is it about maybe that market that made it conducive for you guys to come in and just like expand this idea? So what's the idea and why and how did it expand the way it did?
So the company is called Vecnology. It is. I mean, we did. The company is still there. The founders still run the company. Um, so what we did was we created Malaysia's first e-wallet vending machines. So e-wallets were mobile payments, right? Were
Yeah.
popping up in Malaysia. People are not using cash or coins anymore, or even cards for that matter. They were just using their phone and using the QR code and pay. Easy, fast, love it.
Wow.
So there were no vending machines that could accept that QR payment at that time. So the
Mm.
company went out and created the vending machines themselves. So we had these vending machines with the 22-inch flat screen where you can select the products. It used to be just the buttons, now it's on the screen. And then instead of credit card reader or bill validators that you see
Yeah.
in America, it's just all plain with a little screen where it can scan the QR payment.
So it's not that you guys sold a specific product, the product is the vending machine.
We build the vending machines and we
Mm.
build a cloud technology that connects, and it's like a inventory management system,
Mm, mm,
right?
mm.
That's what we do. So we do the whole thing,
Yeah.
and then we distribute it across the country.
Wow. How
That's
did
what
you
we did.
guys like sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
No, that's what we did. That's what I was saying.
So like, okay, are you and the co-founders, were you guys like startup I'm sorry, were you guys, you know, developer background, hardware background, like, or did you just outsource it or you built the team around making the product and the prototype and everything?
So that company was started not by me. That company was already started by these two founders, right?
Right.
Co-founders, and I
Right.
was a late joiner. Right? I was a third co-founder later. I was taking care of the
Yeah.
business part of it.
So were you like the, I guess you could say, business development
Yeah,
brains behind the operation?
I was the chief business development officer, and
Mm.
we got our CEO who is working directly with me on strategies, and we have our
Mm.
COO who actually takes care of the product development. In that case, it's hardware and software, right?
Yeah.
So we had our engineering advisors, we would develop the sheet metals in China. We would import them to Malaysia. We had a huge warehouse where our technicians would actually build up the machine,
Mhm.
plug the software in, plug the, flat screen on, plug the QR payment system on, and we'll build the whole thing ourselves. So that was pretty fun, man. I love the company.
It
I love
sounds
the
like a
vending
lot of fun.
machines. Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's one of those business where you don't hear a lot about AI, or you don't associate too much with software. It's one of those business where you feel like it's boring,
Mhm.
but it's actually it works. It works in Asia.
Yeah,
I'm sure with our now XO Halal vending machines, it will
yeah.
inshallah work in America too.
Inshallah. Inshallah. So, okay. And, because part of the people we talk to a lot on the show, or the people who listen, we're salespeople. So, what was your, brother Way, like, what was your process going and selling? Were you knocking on doors? Were you like, what's the sale like over there? Um, to like expand the way you did, and what was the results basically? Because you talk about, you know expanding across different countries in Asia and all that, so I'd love to hear more about that too.
Yeah, sales in Asia is very different from what it is in America, or
Mm,
what it is in the West, at least, right? Because sales in Asia, it develop over time. It needs to based on the relationship. You can't just call somebody up and tell them that, yo, you know what? Do you want a vending machine? I want to sell you one, right? That doesn't happen.
yeah,
Or anything of that sort. You can just email somebody and they will reply, and the deal happens on the phone. No, it rarely happens. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it rarely happens.
yeah.
So naturally, as Asians, we would just meet the person, take
Mm,
them out to lunch a couple times, maybe even dinner. We would go out with them, we would have fun with them, and then we would talk business. Say,
mm,
you know what? I see your brand is growing. What about, I could help you distribute the products with the vending machines in malls. What do you think? After a couple rounds of, relationship building, and then they might say yes, they might say no. Who cares, right?
and you're
Sales
are you are
really
you
goes
like
on.
reaching out with the pretext of, hey, I'm with this company, let's go
Oh
get
yeah,
lunch or
yeah,
something? Okay, so it's
yeah.
like
No,
you're
for sure.
you're initiating the conversations, like they know why you're reaching out, but there's a formality that has to take place first.
Yeah, I'll tell you one example in
Yeah,
Korea. I mean, Korea has even longer context in regards to sales process.
yeah.
In Korea, you don't even talk about business until after the other party gives you the green light. Uh,
Wow.
that's how it is in Korea. I mean, Korea is very different. I even had to unlearn whatever that I learned across Asia, and relearn how the sales look like in Korea. So for us, when we expanded into Korea, I wheeled the machine in, right, but the QR payment system was not ready in Korea, so I had to go back and get the credit card reader, right, that
Yeah,
works for Korean market. But for
right.
us to do that, we needed Samsung Pay. And for us to get Samsung Pay, I needed to talk to the head of Samsung Pay.
Yeah,
And then I got in touch with the head of Samsung Pay. This guy came with his motorcycle. He has a very cool helmet. He's like,
yeah.
"Hop on, we'll go for lunch, we'll go for dinner." And after a few rounds of relationship building, I want to say like 3 to 5 rounds of that, he say,
Yeah.
"So I hear that you have vending machines, and what do you want to do?" Like, bruh, I want to get your technology integrated to our machines, and I want to make that work. It's like, okay, I'll talk to my team, and we'll see what we can do. That's how it is.
Wow. Bro, what I love about your story, from what I've heard so far, is like it's very, I hear a lot of just tawakkul, right? You're just, you have a interest, desire to just kind of, work is play, work is fun, following passion, and just like trusting that a lot. Like, bro, I'll tell you, like here, like moving from state to state is not happening just like, oh, someone gives you a call, like, okay, I'm moving. Like, no, no, it's a long thought decision. It's a process. It's, let me check the rentals out there. Oh, I don't know if I can make it
Yeah,
happen. I don't know family. I don't know if there's the Muslim community there. Like, there's so many steps. Um, it's not just pick up and go. And what I love about this is like, bro, you're also super young at the time. Like this is, mashallah. So I love that story. So you you help them expand across Korea and all that. Are you, and if you're not in a position to answer this question, I totally understand, but are you like basically being like compensated in a way that like allows you to then continue on this journey of just like you talk about the financial piece kind of sometimes being a blocker in the early days, like did you get out of that, kind of break out of that shell to eventually be able to be more independent? Like what's that like?
So, I mean, of course, I get compensated by salary and
Right.
by equity, right?
Right.
It's not that much, but the way I look at market expansions is, at least in Asia, what I do is I looked at government funded, expansion programs,
Mm.
and I try so hard to get into them. For
Wow.
example, going back to the waste management company, right?
Yeah.
There was, I mean, I was keeping my eye on the national programs, right? And then this program from Malaysia popped up. Say, we're inviting, top startups from all over the world to come spend 3 months in Malaysia, and we will give you access to the Malaysian market. We will give you stipends, we'll give you housing, we'll give you startup education, all that kind of stuff. The accelerator, but on steroids, basically, right?
Wow, and
Cross
that's
border.
government based. That's insane. I've
Yes.
never heard of that.
Yeah. I don't hear a lot about that in America, to be honest, right?
Yeah, it's not that common.
But in Malaysia, for example, the Ministry of SMBs and Startups, they did that, and then they literally funded the whole program. And there were, of course, the competition was, or the selection process was very competitive.
Sure.
Thousands of companies applied, and Alhamdulillah, we came on top, like one of the I think like what 30 companies to get selected. That's how
Yeah.
we get into Malaysia. And then for Korea case, also the same thing happened, right? I was looking at different programs across the countries that we want to expand into, and
Yeah.
that program. I applied and went through, I guess, like 2-3 rounds of interviews, and they said out of what 3,000 companies, we were like the top 30 or top 60 company or something, right?
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
We got the same thing. Company was literally funded by Korean government to expand into Korea. So there are programs like that. And
Yeah.
that's how I was able to bring these companies out and bring them into different markets.
That's amazing, man. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So you help build the cloud vending machine. Um and you mentioned, a different part of life, getting married. Is that what uh, got you to come to America solely, or like was there opportunities here? Like what's the journey from, or I don't know if I'm missing a step between the cloud and then coming here. What was
No,
what's
yeah.
yeah.
So I brought the vending company from Malaysia to Korea,
Right.
right? And then I was working on that, and then after a while, the founders realized that, okay, you know what, we want to pull all of our resources back into Malaysia and
Yeah.
just focus on the Malaysian market. And I was already in Korea, but I think it was during the COVID time, so I couldn't travel much. So I said, okay,
Mm,
I mean, if you guys just want to focus on Malaysia, that's fine with me. I could do some other things in Korea while I'm here. So I backed off and I started building the edtech company. So, we licensed the platform from the UK to teach students British English. So I onboarded teachers, and then I had students, put them on the platform. They can start learning English from one another, right?
mm.
So I built that company from the ground up in Korea, and then I expanded that company to Thailand. So arrived in Thailand, registered the company, and I was building the company up, and then the personal story happened, right? I mean, my wife, alhamdulillah, we've been together since we were young. We're like since we were 15 years old. But
MashaAllah.
her whole family moved from Myanmar to the US about 7 years ago, right?
Mm,
And so we were always long distance. Right? I
yeah.
was I was moving around different countries, but she was here already.
Sure.
And at that time, we realized that it's about time I got married to her, and then get settled with life.
Yeah.
So I had to leave everything that I built in Asia, call it a day, and just book the flight and came to America. 2 months. I mean, I arrived in March, end of March 2023. By June 2023, I got married. 2 months later, in August, registered the business and started a new business. That's it.
What? So okay, hold up. You closed everything. You closed shop overseas, ed tech company, all your
Everything,
ties, and you just came
everything.
here
Yep, just like that.
again, bro.
Because she asked me.
MashaAllah, bro. You're. I have two themes about you, bro. Brother, is one, you have tawakkul like many should aspire towards, mashallah, and two, you build companies like
I
kids
mean,
build Legos. Like you talk about the ed tech, the waste management, it just idea to company, and I love that, man.
yeah,
So just before we transition to the company that you're working on now and just the journey and all that, one thing I want to understand better about the ed tech is like, did you like exit it and sell it, or did you just close down shop and say we're no longer in business? Like, what was the process there?
just closed down shop.
Mm.
Like, the decision took me some time to really realize that. But,
Yeah,
of course, there are many ways that I could have just, let it live on.
yeah,
But I know myself that living, I mean, I'm moving to America, and then
yeah,
I'm being, united with the woman I love, and I
yeah,
will be potentially building a life here if Allah
yeah,
wills.
yeah.
So I know that things are happening ahead, but man, with the time difference, and I can't do everything. I can't do everything all at once. I only have 24 hours a day, so I just
Absolutely.
had to just close down everything and pack my bags up and move to America. That's it.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. So okay, I'm gonna get to another question later on how you're building businesses and all that. But now I want to. I guess we'll transition, and then we'll maybe as we close out, I'd love to kind of have some takeaways for myself, selfishly, and the audience, and see what your advice would be to people. But you come here. I'll be honest with you. I looked at your website, and I've heard the pitch overall of you're totally right. Muslims in America, we're not like our snack game is really weak. Like
Hmm.
we do not have a lot of halal food in general is not really the most available thing. Alhamdulillah, if you live in Dallas, you're based out of Dallas. I'm based out of Virginia. We have options. Alhamdulillah, they're growing, but it's not like very easily available. Like I was traveling the
Right.
other day for work to Vegas, and like I don't really have a lot of options halal wise that wasn't an expensive wagyu steak or like,
Yeah.
barely any snacks besides like maybe these like protein shakes or whatever or chips, like, but nothing like super available. What like was that your realization when you came here? Is like, yo, what the heck? Like these guys don't have any snacks. Like what was the story there? Like you're here in March. How long did it take you to feel like, oh my God, these guys need me?
Started this business because I wanted to solve my wife's problem. She loves to snack.
Mm,
But as someone who's lived in America for, I mean, at that time, what, more than 4 years, she always had trouble finding halal certified snacks, in
mm.
mainstream stores. You go to Walmart, Target, she always had to flip the packaging, read the ingredients, and making sure nothing is crazy, nothing is
Yeah.
impermissible, right?
Yeah.
Because back home, back in Asia, I mean, although we both grew up in Myanmar, we are
Sure.
what 3 to 4%. We're like minority in the country.
Yeah.
Myanmar is a majority Buddhist country.
Yeah.
Although we were a minority, we had access to halal certified snacks, meaning snacks with halal logo on the packaging. So we could. There's a trust, right? I mean, we could have them without even reading the ingredients. So that's how
Wow.
easy it was to get access to halal stuff. But I mean, she was here and she was always complaining about, how she couldn't find halal snacks. She always had
Yeah.
to drive up to the local ethnic store,
Yeah.
go to Middle Eastern store or Asian store and look for the halal snacks, right? Or
Yeah.
snacks with halal certificate. So at that time, I was in Korea.
Yeah.
I was like, well, here's an idea. Why don't I bring the snacks from Asia to you and see if we can sell them? That was the whole idea, brother. I
Wow.
came here, brought just a couple snacks.
Yeah.
Give her. She loved it, and she said, "Well, I think we should start doing something about it." And
Yeah.
so I told you, March I arrived, and August the business is up and running. So when the business was started, I had a logo design on Canva, very ugly one. I had a scrappy Shopify store. Me and my wife started creating content, it's very cringe, on TikTok, and we just imported halal snacks from Thailand, Malaysia, and Korea. These three countries. We brought some snacks, a pallet worth, about what, $3,000 worth of snacks, and then we just put them in brown craft boxes from Uline, right? And then we call them snack box, halal snack box, and we listed them on what, Shopify store and TikTok shop, and try to sell them. We wanted to test the market. Basically, I didn't have an idea of building $100 million company or even $1 million company. I didn't have any vision that yet, right? So I just
Yeah.
wanted to see if this would work. And alhamdulillah, in I want to say 3.5 to 4 months time, these snacks were gone. We were so
Wow.
excited. I'm like, there might be a bigger opportunity for me to pursue here.
Yeah.
Then I spent 2024 conducting market research, talking to Muslims I know in America, right? Launch, quizzes on Facebook, and
Yeah.
asking people questions like, "Hey, do you
Collecting
find it
data,
hard to?
basically.
Yeah, do you
Yeah.
find it hard to get halal snacks? How
Yeah.
often do you want snacks?
Yeah.
Would it be cool if you could, explore international snacks without ever worrying about it? How much
Hmm.
would you pay for it? Would subscription idea be good for you? Things like that. I was collecting data. I was building the brand. Invested. I started onboarding two angel investors from Myanmar. Small check size like 10,000, 15,000.
Sure.
Just to invest in the brand, just to invest in this market research. In 2025, this is where I launched the subscription. 2025, in February of 2025, launched the subscription in the market, right? And then started listening to customers. That's what I like to do. I want to talk to people, right?
Yeah.
So I listened to customers, and at first, here's a big realization, right?
Yeah.
At first, I thought I was doing the great job. I was like, oh man, I'm the halal snack guy. I kept telling people, oh, now you should eat halal snacks. We got them for you. But then again, I realized that subscription box idea, the forced curation idea, wasn't
Yeah.
working. People
Mm.
want to pick what they wanted.
Right.
So it's not just one feedback. I kept receiving hundreds of feedbacks by then, right?
Yeah.
Saying I didn't like this particular snack. It was too fishy for me. I don't like the Thai snacks. I'm Middle Eastern, so I like this and that. I'm like, if you want to pick what you want, then the only way for me to do is to build a marketplace where you can pick and choose whatever products you want, and I'll
Yeah.
give you access to them. So that's what we're going towards, right? Subscription only in
Inshallah.
2025, gearing towards marketplace. And with the vending machine, my idea is to give people on ground access, right? So
Yeah.
people can purchase stuff online, but imagine you have these machines in mosques, community centers, ERs, hospitals, schools.
Oh my God. Game
Brother,
changer, brother. That's a game changer.
inshallah.
Inshallah, ya Rab. Man, I love to hear that, bro. So few questions come to mind. You're building the business from scratch, quite literally.
Correct.
How are you finding your first customers? Like, or maybe not the first customers, because the first customers, maybe that's easy. You go to the masjid, you go out, but like, how do people know who you are? How do people, random people online find you out? Is it that you're doing like SEO and you've mastered that? Is it that you're, doing influencer marketing? Like, how are you making people like, how are you making your wife's problem that you started with everybody's problem? How are you, building out that pain, and then kind of like expanding it out and making this like a, inshallah, one day a household name?
I'm not a master yet, obviously. That's why I haven't hit $1 million. So
Allah make it
still
easy.
learning,
Yeah.
inshallah. I mean, so the way I did that in the early days was to, of course, we did create content. We didn't spend money on advertising because we were
Yeah.
bootstrap business.
Yeah.
We didn't have, as I told you, right? We only had a couple checks with small, it's like a tiny number, right? So they can't really do much in America.
Right.
So what I did was the strategy was I would go on and pitch my idea to at as many pitch competitions as possible, so that people can hear about us, people can know about us, and people can talk about us, right? That was a strategy, because that was like a bootstrap founder with a couple $100 in the bank
Yeah.
strategy. So what I
Yeah.
did. Now the game is obviously a little different, right? I mean, now some people know about us now. Some people started talking about our brand, right? Some people are interested in investing in the company now.
Yeah.
But the strategy is very simple, man. I got great people in my company now. They're not a team, but they're investors. They're all angel investors, right?
Right.
And these angel investors are also actively helping me get this company off the ground.
So it's not
One of
passive.
them
It's
is,
really like support and
yeah,
advice,
yeah, no,
mentorship, whatever you want to call it.
absolutely. We got a marketing guy, very, very, very amazing brother. He's a big name in the D2C, SaaS marketing industry. He's helping me with strategies on marketing. And I have a brother, who I randomly met at a Lift Summit in 2020, I mean, February of 2025. I
Hmm.
randomly sat next to this person. He's a Chinese Muslim. He ended up investing in my company. He just loved the idea so much. He helps me with, product development.
Wow.
He helps me with technology advice and stuff like that. And I'm the guy who just goes to the office every single day, pack the boxes up, think about the vision, and just trying to convince people to sign up. That's all I'm doing. And of course, now we've invested in 2025 with the help of my, marketing advisor and
Yeah.
investor, right? We have built up a foundation of influencer marketing
MashaAllah.
and content strategy. We had uh, two full-time creators pumping out one content a day. So we have 60 contents by the end of the month, right? They're being posted on our TikTok shop. We purpose it back on YouTube Shorts and on Facebook and Instagram, right? So
Yeah.
we have also done affiliate marketing, post giving our product for free and then having them post our content. We use different platforms to track them and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And I continue to do that. Now we're in a transition period because we used to be known as a subscription company. Now we're moving towards a marketplace company. So there's no boxes anymore. It's just individual items. And we're figuring out how do we do that in that space.
That's awesome, mashallah. I love to hear that. So that's so
It's a struggle, but
yeah.
alhamdulillah, I mean, I love it. It's fun. It's very stressful, but it's fun. I don't know, man. It's very weird. Like I find fun in stress.
Yeah, yeah. No, man, I love what you've shared with us today. And I think kind of, and inshallah, we're definitely gonna have to stay in touch and do more of these conversations.
Sure.
If there's advice you would give to maybe young guys or gals, brothers and sisters in the community, or people who it's like, hey, I have a shirt idea, or I have a, there's this kind of mug that I've never seen before that I feel like, or some kind of pain that a said person identifies. Like, besides just go and do it and figure it out, like what's the tactical advice? Because I think a lot of times people will run into like, oh, I don't have time, I work my full-time job, I have family obligations, mosque, community, family, friends, all these things. Like, what do you tell people in that scenario with it's like a burning idea or something like that? What's your go-to?
I would say keep a notion or keep a notebook where you just write down the ideas that pop in your head,
Yeah.
and then call it your idea shelf,
Yeah.
whatever, right? And then say you listed down what 10 ideas, right, in your notebook. But if one of those ideas or two of them just like keep calling your name, it just keep popping up in your head,
Yeah.
maybe it's time to go do something about it. But that's just an ignition that you had, right? But
Yeah.
then again, to really go out and build, it's another strategy, right? I
Yeah.
think even the experienced founders made this mistake of believing that my idea would work,
Yeah.
but in fact, it's not always true. So I would strongly suggest you talk to potential customers, right?
Mm.
Just spend time with them. As I did in 2024, I literally just ask people questions. Funny story, man. We went to MassCon Chicago
Yeah,
in 2020, end of 2023. We didn't have a booth. Of course, we didn't have money to get a booth. The booth was
they're
expensive.
expensive.
We just had these cards print out, and then we were just soliciting,
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
people that coming to the door, and we were kicked out by the
Oh,
committee. But next year
oh,
we got
no
a booth.
way.
We got a kid.
Subhanallah.
Because like for me, I was like, well, 40,000 Muslims coming through the door, that's the biggest opportunity for me to talk to people and
Yeah,
ask their advice.
data
But
collection at its
that
best.
didn't happen. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So you got to be really crazy about your ideas, so much so that you would go and solicit
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
events. Don't take my advice, don't do that, please. But you got to be really crazy about it. And I would
Yeah,
say, man, talk to customers all the time, man.
yeah.
Customers, you got to build you got to build a product for your customers, man. If there's no customer, there's no business, right?
All right.
And these customers, they change their mind all the time too. Their pain points change by the time, so you just got to be able to adapt to them.
Wow, mashallah, mashallah. Brother, it was a pleasure speaking to you today, and alhamdulillah, I've definitely learned so much. Um, I guess as we close out, where can people find you? If someone wants to find you or the brand, what would you leave people with?
Well, you all can find me on social media at with the handle at Wai Konzu, WAIKONZU, Wai Konzu. But my brand at XO Halal. It's very easy, man.
Mashallah, I'm gonna have to place an order and give it a shot, inshallah.
Sure
And
thing, man.
I'll send you a picture, inshallah, once I get it.
Sounds good.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Well, with that, thank you so much for joining. And to everybody who's watching today, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you liked today's episode, definitely check out XO Halal and subscribe to our channel. We always share this metric. I don't have it in front of me right now, especially because my partner Muhammad isn't with us. But most people who watch our videos are not subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed already, feel free to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, where you could find us. And if you have any guest suggestions or ideas for the future, definitely let us know. With that, Jum'ah Mubarak, everyone. Jum'ah Mubarak, brother Way, and Assalamu Alaikum.
Assalamu Alaikum.